Hello everybody, this is Elissa from Ink Arts and Crafts, and today we are here for my whip and chat. Today's whip and chat's going to be a little bit different. I'm actually doing a kitting down in chat more so than anything. So I've got my 26 canvases for 2026 that I have already kitted up, and I've been plugging away and working on them. I think I need to turn, like 9 more into whips, and then I will have the completely done, like the 26 whips. So that's my goal, is to do like a handful more to turn them into whips and go from there. However, I started working on this canvas right here. This is Festival of Ribbons. I got one section done on it, and I love the colors of it. I really love the color palette of this canvas, but I am absolutely loathing working on it. It's not horrendous on its confetti, but it's just not bringing me joy in any way, shape, or form, and I'm like, I am not enjoying this. It's not fun, and I have too many canvases, and life's too short to work on things that are not bringing you joy, so I'm like, I'm going to kit it down and, get rid of this canvas, and and the grid is like super gappy, even gappy for me as somebody who likes a looser grid for my square drill canvases. So this is one that I'm going to be kitting down, and since there's already one section done on it, it's one of those things that I'll probably end up just giving it away to anybody who wants it, where they just have to pay essentially shipping. So now I need to go through and kit this down. Other than that, in kitting it down, I have one other that I already had kitted up that I was on the fence about even kitting up in the first place, because I was like, do I actually like it? It's the same company. Both of these are from Lazy River Crafts. This one is Kitsunebi, is this one here, and this one is a round versus this one being a square. And the rounds are not nearly, I do the rounds much easier on these Lazy River Craft canvases than I do the squares, but I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to kit it down because life's too short. I also have started like 2 additional whips that were not planned on my 26, so they can essentially replace these 2. So now I'm going to kit this down into baggies, which I have some bags right here. I'm going to start the process of kitting them down into and kind of go from there. So that's what we're going to be doing for our whip and chat today, is kitting down. This one is going to be straightforward and easy to kit down because all of the drills are here and then the extras are right there. The thing that's going to be a little bit more challenging is Kitsunebi, because I did not put all of the drills into these containers because I needed to be able to have enough space to kit up all of the kits. So I do have the extra drills are in here, but I did not label them, so I have to look. But since I have the original bags for this one right here, I can look at it and know, okay, this is what they look like, and then I can go through and find the ones, because these do have the numbers on them of like what that type of thing, so, or like the TMC number. So we're gonna go from there and do our best and make sure to get all of them. And yeah, that's where I'm at. We're gonna start with the squares, kitting those ones down, and then we will go over to our rounds. But yeah, that's where I'm at this point in time, is kitting down and kitting up, or kitting down these so I can kit it. Well, I'm not gonna kit anything else up. I've got plenty kit up already, but I am going to be kitting down these 2 that are not bringing me joy in any way, shape, or form, so that way I can then just focus on the ones that I'm enjoying. It also made me go through and take a hard look at the rest of my Lazy River Crafts canvases, and I was like, there are definitely some in here that I'm just gonna go ahead and call it and get rid of. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead, and I crammed these bags of drills in here. So yeah, you can see, this is what they kind of look like. And we've got the 3811, which I'll pour in there, and then the 310 that I'll pour in here. So that's what we're basically doing for today's video, is this kit down of all of these things. I don't even know how I got these in here. My goodness. So means I have some more, canvas, like more bags and whatnot that are open than I thought, or more tray. Like, I could have room if I wanted to kit something up that was not on my original list, which actually I have 2 canvases right now that are kit up into, that are basically how they came, which was kit up into baggies. So I have those, and they're from Pressed and Placed. So that's something that, with them being from Pressed and Placed, I'm like, well, I could do that. Now the hard part is going to be getting the stickers off. Yeah, so it's going to be a matter of getting these stickers off and putting them on the baggies and go from there. And then I'll probably put all of the baggies in like a sandwich baggie. I've got some slightly larger baggies, and then these ones are some smaller bags. We're going to do our best we can with them and kind of go from there. This is going to go over here as well. But yeah, that's basically where we're at. I did get some new canvases. If you guys watched my month in review, you would have seen that, you know, I am doing the crazy that is the 26 for 26. I also did a video on it a week or two ago. I did a video about my 26 for 26 that I am doing, which I have gone through, and I had everything kitted up, and I picked a bunch of canvases that, the majority of the canvases I picked were old canvases. So I was trying to get through, you know, some of the hoard. So I picked a lot of canvases that were like, you know, the old ones chilling in the hoard. So that way I can, you know, get them out of the hoard. Because they're also ones that are part of my, like, refresh your stash. So that's kind of nice to know that, you know, I'm getting a bunch of them gone that way. But also at the same time, I did sprinkle, well, I didn't even really sprinkle any newer ones. There's just some canvases that I got in 2026 that are actually relatively, you know, newer and not, well, there's ones that are like really, really good quality that I got in 2023 that I'm kitting up. And then there's a couple like new ones, not new, but a couple newish ones. Like Fushimi and Ari is one of them that I'm going to be working on as well when I do finally get my button gear to work on it. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at for that. But it seems crazy that I have so many WIPs, like mind-boggling how many WIPs I have. I have completed 3 canvases, so really it's 23 that I need to make sure that I work on, because I had 2 of them that were for the, well, 2 for events in April. So I did my Liubka canvas. I did the Kitchen Cats for Legendary Liubka, the event that I co-hosted with Laura, which the final live where we draw grand prizes is going to be on Monday evening. So we have that one. And then on top of that, I also participated, so I worked on that one. And then I also participated in Jessica the Stealthy Crafter and her Chrysabug Along. So I worked on Feline Familiars for the Chrysabug Along. So those were the ones that I worked on for events, basically, were those 2. And then when I did my unboxing video, which is for my haul video for all of the canvases that I got in April, all the canvases that I received in April, when I filmed that video, the very last canvas that I kitted up, or that I unboxed, I was like, oh my gosh, I love it. I want to work on this right now. And I never do that. Like, I never am like, oh, I just unboxed this canvas and it's so awesome, I need to work on it. That's just not what I do. But this particular one, I looked at and I was like, dang it, I'm working on this canvas. It's basically the video. I finished filming the video, which is going to go up on Monday, so you guys will know what canvas I'm talking about on Monday. I finished the video. It went up on Monday, or it's going up on Monday. And if I didn't already have the video edited and all of that, and already scheduled to start, I would 100% add a little, like, a finish, because I literally just finished that canvas. So I'm getting a sticker sheet just so I can write the additional color numbers on here, because this isn't all going to fit in one bag. So this is going to be symbol 2, and it's going to be 3, 1, 2. So that way, whoever decides that they wants this canvas can, you know, have something to do it with. So yeah, I don't know why I got the tray and I have not been using my tray. I think I have like a thing that you can do for kitting up, a little container that I can use for kitting up into baggies, but normally I haven't had an issue. It's just this container, this one right here, as I make an absolute, utter, and complete mess. So yeah, we're gonna so anyways, that's been some of the chaos that I have been up to, is this 26 for 26 that Nicole started, and I decided, you know what, that sounds interesting, let me do it, even though I one, I hate kitting up. And they were all kits that I was going to work on this year anyways. But I already had some of them kit up. I think I still had like 5 or 6 that I had yet to lay drills down on of the ones that I had already kit up this last kitting up go round. So that was kind of like, well, I already have these kind of like kit up. So now I just need to add to it. And I decided to start fresh from, you know, when I made the decision. So I had 2 WIPs. I had 2 of them that were active WIPs when I decided to, well, actually a couple more than that were active WIPs, and I decided to make that decision. But the 2 that I finished, I had started when like at that point. I know I'm like talking in circles. Basically, it was the, my Liubka and my Chrysabug I finished, but I didn't finish them until after I had already decided I was participating in this event. So I finished them relatively rapidly. So anywho, that's basically what I'm up to right now as far as diamond painting wise. I do have to say, I'll talk about like daily life and all of that because I didn't film a WIP and chat last week because I had done one on a Tuesday, and I felt like to do last Saturday would have just been way too close together. And I'm like, I didn't really have anything to say because it was just, I hadn't done anything in that interim period. So I was like, I'll just wait, and, you know, it'll just be a week and a half in between the 2 WIP and chats. So hence the fact that you're getting it. And then, of course, I had a really late night. Well, I didn't, yeah, but no. But I had a late night Friday night and did not feel like filming late Friday night to have it up for you guys for today. So, stickers. So anyways, beyond that, let's see. Yeah, April was, when you guys see my unboxing video on Monday, April was kind of like, yeah, April got me, and I bought way more than I had planned in April, so I have to breathe on these. Look at all that static. And it's humid here right now too, and that's the kicker. It's humid, and yet there's all this static on these drills. I hate static. I'm like, well, for all the fact that we have all this technology, why do we not have a way to, you know, get rid of all of the crazy static like this? Because this is just ridiculous. Ridiculous. I found that, honestly, one of the best ways is the breath move. Everything else is just such an annoying pain in the butt. But even doing that, I'm like, I find myself having to, I'm just going to do it like this and pour them from the tray. But look at how staticky they are. This is ridiculous. Ugh. Annoying. All right. So now I can pour these last few in. Yeah. But I can't remember what I was talking about before I started talking about static. Oh, no. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. April, like, I just went a little bit crazy in April. I had been doing fairly good and finishing for the most part. Having more canvases gone than, you know, more canvases gone than what I was kind of like starting off with. But on the flip side of that, like, I just kind of started kind of like losing it a little bit. And yeah, I definitely lost it a little bit and went a little overboard with the purchases and canvases that I got in April. I think I ended up getting 16 things. I didn't necessarily buy 16 canvases in April, but I received 16 canvases in April. Oh, weird tickle to my throat. Yeah, I received 16 canvases in April, which is crazy. I haven't had a month like that in a hot minute. And I don't know what it was about, you know, April, just everything just kind of was like the perfect storm of, oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's perfect. Oh, that's perfect. I think that included one Jeremiah Kettner. I had the 4 canvases from Preston Placed. So that was 4 of them. So, and then I had 2 Liubkas. So that means we're down to just 10. And then I had a mini Dazzle. So that was 9. I had 2 Dreamer Designs, so that's 7. And then I had 1 Yume, 1 Jeremiah Kettner. I don't know if I counted him on there, but yeah, I had way too many canvases for the month of April. And yeah, I went a little overboard. So now for May, I'm trying to restrain myself and do better in May, which is all well and good in theory, but and I did not purchase from the Diamond Art Club release today on Saturday. I didn't purchase from Diamond Art Club today. And I was like, all right, I'm doing good. No purchases. I wish listed the Jeremiah Kettner. Life is good. And then I went to like a local, like a meet and greet with the owner of the Diamond Art Gallery, and there was probably maybe like 6 or 7 of us that had gone there, and she had brought a bunch of her diamond paintings that she had like on hand. So I was looking at them, and there's like a couple of them that I have like legit been eyeballing for ages. So I was like, oh my gosh, I want them so bad. So there was a couple of them that, like I said, I legit had been wanting for since she had released a couple of them. I just hadn't pulled the trigger and bought them. But then I was like, I'm right here. She's got them on hand. I don't even have to wait for them to come in. Because she typically does her canvases as made to order. Which then get shipped to her. And then she packages them and everything. And then ships them out to you. So I was like, I didn't feel like, I was like, and I was like, there's a couple of them that I had really been eyeballing. And I finally was, and I was looking at them because she had them there. And then she had one that, so there was 2 that I had really been eyeballing in the past that she had. And then the third one that she had brought in like a couple finishes. And then one that was like a WIP that was mostly done, but a WIP as well. And I was looking at like the one of them that was a finish. And I'm like, that is like a legit... it was so pretty, and it looked so good. You guys will see more about which canvases they are. I'm not going to tell you what canvases they are right now. And when I do my May diamond painting haul. So you got to wait another month to find out exactly what canvases I bought. Or you could go over to, if you're on the Discord, you can tell exactly what I bought, because I think I posted them on the Discord. But oh my gosh, they were some really pretty ones. And seeing them in person, she also has some really, really big diamond paintings. Like one of them that she has that's like an 80 by 120. And I'm like, ooh, man, it's really pretty. But I do not like to work on things that are like, my ideal is, a 50 by 70. But I will go up to like a 60 by 80. But I do not, I'm trying to not purchase things that have like the long side longer than an 80. The only exception is, Yume. Yume's I will buy regardless of what size they are. And a lot of the Yume's do tend to be larger. But if it's a Yume, 100% I will be purchasing it. It can be a massive behemoth. It could be like a 100 by 200, and I would still buy the Yume. But anything else, no. I would be like, I love it, but it's big and it's a square, so I'm not touching it. So that's been so there's some of them that are like automatic, not going to purchase because of that. But other than that, yeah, so I got 3. It was definitely fun having, that time to kind of just chill, just chat with, some other local diamond painters and everything like that. So that was enjoyable, and we're going to try to like organize one. This one was like really last minute put together, but we're going to organize one where we could, actually get together and do some actual diamond painting, which will be fun to do that. Because I go to the Florida Sparkle Squad ones, but those are down in the Orlando Kissimmee area, which, then you have to drive all the way down there. And I usually go to those with my mom. Like, there's another one, not next weekend, because next weekend is Mother's Day, but the weekend after next weekend is another one of the Florida Sparkle Squad, which is going to be down in, like, the Kissimmee, Orlando area. So my mom will come over here on Friday, and then on Saturday morning, we will get up bright and early and drive down, do the retreat all day long, and then drive back. It makes for a really long day because that's like 6 hours of driving time. But, we do that rather than trying to sit in get a hotel overnight or anything like that, because you're going to have to drive regardless. So that's kind of how my mom and I tend to do it, is we drive down day of. But yeah, so we've got one of those in 2 weeks, 2 weeks from today, from Saturday. 2 weeks from today is going to be another one of the Florida Sparkle Squad retreats, day retreats. And then there's a slightly, like a larger one in, September to go to as well. So those are always fun to, you know, get together with other diamond painters from the Florida area, and you just have a day of just diamond painting together and all of that. So yeah. So what have I been up to in these last couple weeks? Oh my goodness. I don't even think I done, let's see, I think when I left off, I had gone to the Twice concert. I already did that, which was in Orlando. And then last week, let's see, yeah, not this week that just got passed, but the week prior, I had to drive down to Orlando on Thursday morning because I was, one of my friends was in town. So like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday were business as normal for work. So the Tuesday being the day that I had done the, put up the last whip and chat. Then Wednesday was, you know, normal day at work, and then so nothing really eventful on Tuesday or Wednesday. And then Thursday, I had Thursday and Friday off. Thursday, I drove down, got up early, left the house about 6 a.m. and headed down to Orlando because I was meeting up with friend Charmaine. And we met at Epcot, and we worked and we, you know, spent the day at Epcot. So it was super awesome, like meeting up with her, and we just got to go out and about and, you know, do all the rides and all the things and had a blast. These are like small bags, so they're a little trickier for these bags right here. But yeah, we did the day at Orlando and kind of like ate our way around the world, because it's like, I love the fact that the food that they offer is usually such small little like appetizer size portions. If you get like the appetizers, well, obviously the appetizers are gonna be appetizers, but you can definitely, we would just get, you know, a small thing, and then that means that the next country that we went to in Epcot, we could get another food item, and we were never full while we were doing it. We always were, you know, like had plenty of, we weren't overstuffing ourselves as we wandered from country to country doing it. While we were down there, we also got to see, drill in my mouth. While we were at Epcot, we actually got to see Chloe, who, Reading with Chloe, if you follow her, which is Diamonds at Tiffany's, that's her younger sister. So Chloe and her boyfriend, and then her brother and his girlfriend were down there. So we got to, you know, spend some time with them, kind of chilled a little, kind of like just chatted a little bit and hung out a little bit. And then, you know, continued along our respective ways of doing what we were doing. We had so much fun just kind of like hanging out and chatting and everything, and like spending the entire day like with Charmaine, chatting about all the things and catching up, since I hadn't seen her since the previous summer, even though we talk all the time. But, you know, it's totally different when you get to see somebody in person. But yeah, we had an absolute blast doing that. And then she had to leave to, you know, go get ready for, because she was in town for a wedding, so she had to leave to go get ready for, you know, a dinner. And then and then I still had to drive back home. So did that, and I'll be seeing Charmaine again in like a few more weeks, like mid-May, Memorial Day weekend, because I'm going to be going to Las Vegas for a concert. So I will be staying with her because she's going to the concert with me. But yeah, we're going to be going to Las Vegas for the concert. Yeah, I'll stay at her place. Her husband will chauffeur us around and be our like own personal Uber, driving us to the concert and everything, so we don't have to try to figure out somewhere to park in Vegas. But yeah, that's basically the agenda for May for that. But yeah, we had so much fun. We really spent we spent a good chunk of time in like Japan, as we were doing our walking around the different countries at Epcot. And, you know, we both went absolutely crazy and bought so many things there's like this really good little store in Japan at Epcot that has all the stuff. I got so many goodies from it. It was kind of crazy. I can't leave that, you know, if I go to Epcot, I can't leave without, you know, this massive bag of stuff that I buy from Japan. So it's like, I kind of try to go on all the rides first, so that way, go on all the rides you want to go on first and then go do my shopping, because I'm going to be having a big old bag that I'm going to have to carry around for the rest of the day, which is exactly, what happened. I had a big old bag to carry around for the rest of the day. But, it was totally worth it. I now have some snacks and goodies and all the things for that. But yeah, we had an absolute blast. That was Thursday. I went home. Friday was kind of like recovery day because I had taken Friday off of work as well. And then Saturday, normal, I think I mowed the lawn. Did I mow the lawn on Saturday or Sunday? I'm also back to like my painting classes. We had a month off, but now we're back in action. So I had my painting class on Saturday. The first one for this new set of 4, because my painting classes are in like sets of 4. You do them like 4 weeks in a row, and then we usually will have, so it's like you'll do 2 4-week sessions, and then you'll have like a month off, and then another 2 4-week sessions and a month off. And that tends to be how my instructor does it for those times. So had my painting class on that Saturday, and then Sunday I mowed the lawn, which that was, it definitely needed it because I hadn't mowed it for the 3 weeks prior. So got my lawn mowed on Sunday, which was like, thank you. But it has been so atrociously dry here for weeks. Like normally this time of year, I'm mowing my lawn every 5 to 7 days. And that was 3 weeks in between mows. That tells you, this one, I'm pretty impressed that that's the first one that I've actually ripped of these stickers. So, Mochi, stop chewing on your tail. Stop. No, don't give me that face. So that was the first, so mowed my lawn, 3 weeks between mows, which is a little crazy for the fact that it was 3 weeks in between them. And then from there, it was, back to work on Monday. I did have an interview because that was this Monday that just passed. I had an interview on Monday morning, which so the way the person that was running the interviews runs them, and this would have been for like a promotion at work, the way the person doing them runs the interviews is if one of the candidates that's applying for this position can't interview in person, then he makes it so everybody interviews the same way. So even if, say you have 10 people that are interviewing for the position and 7 of them can be there in person, 2 of them can only do Teams, and 1 of them can't even do Teams and only can do, phone call. Well, all 10 people are going to end up doing a phone call interview because he wants to keep it like level and equal across the board, even level playing field to apply for his positions that he offers. Checking my time. I got halfway through our WIP and chat today. So whenever he runs the interviews, that's kind of how he does it, which is really cool because then it's, level playing field. Because normally if you're doing if some people are in person and some people are Teams, some people are phone, usually you're going to find that the people that do best are going to be the ones that are typically interviewed in person, because then with the Teams interviews being next up, and then the ones that tend to be not as good being the ones over the phone, because you don't get there's no facial cues, nothing when you're doing an interview over the phone. Whereas at least on Teams, you can kind of get some basic cues from people, even though it's not nearly as effective as, being there in real time with somebody when it comes to those positions. So that's kind of how he did it. So I had the interview. It was 8:20 is when it was scheduled for on Monday morning. So he called me he called me right at 8:20, and there's usually 4 to 5 people that are sitting on the board. And they have to actually grade you and rank you on how you do answering each of their questions, and each person asks 2 to 3 questions. So had my interview, did it. The interview started at 8:20, and then when I hung up the phone at the end of the interview after answering all of the questions, I looked at the clock and I was like, holy crap, it's only 8:30. It literally took 10 minutes to do this interview, which is crazy fast. But I don't know, and it was something that as I was answering the questions, they'd ask me a question and I would, answer it, and I felt like I could rattle off my answer and my reasoning and everything very, very rapidly with no problems. And I think part of it is because I've interviewed for so many of these, the positions. Basically, I've interviewed for this position before last summer, and all the different similar type positions for it that I've interviewed for. I've done that like so many times over the last few years that it felt like easy to sit there and run through an interview, which kind of good on the sense that, you know, hey, yeah, it was not stressful for me at all. I didn't even prepare for the interview because I felt like I was already prepared. I also already knew all of the people that were sitting on my board. I didn't know who was going to be on the board until morning of, or until I got the phone call and they all introduced themselves. So that's when I actually knew who was actually going to be on it. But I didn't know who the rest of the members on the board were going to be. But yeah, I had my interview on Monday, and then I had Tuesday and Wednesday off. Tuesday, I got up, kind of chilled around the house, and then I drove down to Tampa on Tuesday because I went to the BTS concert in Tampa. I wasn't able to get Saturday or Sunday tickets, which if I had like known that they were going to, you know, start selling, that Ticketmaster was going to do what it did and like refund and cancel all of the like a bunch of tickets and then open them up to and like resell them again for cheaper prices, then I totally would have, you know, aimed for Saturday and Sunday tickets as well. But I had Tuesday tickets, and oh my goodness, it was amazing. I got down there, you know, I finally left the house because it's like a 3.5 hour drive from here down to Tampa. I left the house about 10:30. The concert wasn't until 8 p.m., but I was like, I can't not be there early. Also, I had to, you know, pick up my merchandise that I had pre-ordered, which was like a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, and then like a sweatsuit, like sweatpants, sweatshirt combo, hoodie combo. I had to pick those up, and I wanted to, you know, give myself plenty of time and not have to feel rushed, make sure I could get in at a decent time. And there were a couple items that I wanted merchandise-wise that you can only get you can only get there at the venue. So I couldn't pre-order everything that I wanted. One of them, which was like a tour stop stamp. It's really cool. But I wanted to get the stamp for the, you know, the Tampa tour, but you can only get that in person at the Tampa tour. So I was able to, so that was one I wanted to get. And then I wanted to get one of the actual, like the tour jerseys for my favorite band member, which again, those ones you could only get in person at the actual concert. So I was like, hey, if I go early, I can, you know, go into the regular merchandise line to try to see about getting one of these jerseys, which that was my goal of getting there so early, because I left at about 10-ish or so. I stopped about, you know, halfway through to get some lunch, and then after lunch I continued on my way, and I ended up getting down right about 2 o'clock. My parking, I had paid for like the VIP parking because it was super, super close, and I wanted something that wasn't going to be a beast to leave at the end of the concert, and I didn't want to have to walk 10,000 miles to get to my car after the concert. So my parking was like maybe 3 cars back from like being front row and center. Like it was basically the gate that I needed to enter the stadium for, because it was the Tampa Bay Buccaneers stadium. The gate that I needed to enter the stadium for was, that gate was basically, you know, it was super, super close. It was like, here's the gate, here's the access road in front of the gate, and here's the parking, and I was 3 cars back. So I was super ridiculously close for parking, which was like fantastic. So, and it was so hot on Tuesday. It was like 90 degrees on Tuesday. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you it was 90 degrees on Tuesday. It was so hot. So it was kind of one of those things that I went and I picked up my merchandise, which we had to walk over to a different, like a baseball field, which was actually where we went, was the New York Yankees summer training camp stadium and field and all of that. That's where we had to go to pick up our pre-ordered merchandise. So I walked across, picked up that, walked back, was able to put it in my car, sat in my car for a little bit because it was toasty, so I needed some AC. So I sat in the car for a little bit, and then I decided to go to the actual merchandise tent, which was on the opposite side of the field. So I walked down to the merchandise tent. They were already sold out of the jerseys, which didn't surprise me realistically. So I was like, well, they're already sold out of the jerseys. So I ended up getting But I got my stamp that I wanted, so that was the good thing. I was able to get my stamp, got that, and then walked back, got back in the car because it was hot, cooled off, and then at probably about 4 o'clock or so, I'm like, okay, I am going to go get in line because people were starting to line up and everything, and I didn't want to have like this super, super long wait to get into the stadium, because once you get inside, once they open the doors, they have merchandise that they're selling there once you get inside. So there's multiple opportunities to get what you want. And I'm like, okay, if I get in there and I'm one of the like first people in, then I can go straight to the merch tables and try to get like the jersey that I want. So that was my plan of attack. So I got in line about 4 o'clock, and there was this, and then as I was standing in line, there was like this like really sweet older couple, like middle-aged couple. They're the same age as my parents. Been married for 40 years, and it's like, it was super sweet seeing them because they are both, you know, fans of BTS. So they were like right behind me in line. So, you know, I was chatting with them, which is what you do when you're in those like long waits and you're just standing around aimlessly for hours. Because we had an hour and a half until the doors opened. And then we were talking about something. I'm like, oh, I need to go get my water. So they held my spot, and I went back to my car and grabbed my water out of my car while we were waiting because they had left it there. Look at that. We finished. The first kit has now officially been kit down. Yay. Now I can work on the next one, the round one that needs kit down, which I have in 2 separate storage containers. So we are going to kit that one down next. And I'm going to slide those drills over. I will put them in a bag later. Right now, I'm just going to kind of set them here. But now I need to do these ones. Not a ton in here. So this is going to be the one we're doing. And this one, we'll see how well these stickers come up. But these ones are all rounds, so it'll be a little bit, in these containers are going to be easier to pour from here into the bag, just because of the nature of these ones. So at least it's going to be easy to tell them apart because one's rounds, one's squares. But yeah, now I haven't tried getting them off of here. Oh, that actually wasn't too bad. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and pop these on here and start with my rounds. Basically, yeah, we were chatting with them. I got back after doing my, I got back in line after grabbing my water, and we'd been there for maybe, like, at this point, it's like maybe 4:15 or so, and the lady that's, you know, because the older couple, same age as my parents, the lady, she was like, she, like, looked at me, and she did not look good. She was, like, super, like, kind of like that, super pale and everything. And she was like, this is going to sound really, really weird and, you know, everything. But do you think, you know, would you mind if we went and sat in your car? And I was like, and looking at her, I was like, I knew that she, like, the heat was getting to her because it was like bright sunshine. It was super hot out, everything. So I was like, absolutely, let's go sit in my car and blast the AC so, you know, she doesn't turn into a heat casualty. Because we were watching, and an ambulance's and like EMT crews had already come through and snatched up like 4 people that had, you know, passed out or collapsed from the heat because it was literally that hot. So we went back to my car and got in. So, you know, that means we lost our place in line. Oh, well, because, you know, she needed to be cooled off and we were sat there, and, you know, her heart rate had been up to like 160 beats per minute is what her heart rate was up to. And I'm like, yeah, you definitely need to sit down in the cool air and get out of that sun. So we sat in my car, we were doing that. And then it was probably about, you know, maybe 20 or 30 minutes that we were in my car for. And then she's like, okay, I think I'm better. I think I'm cooled off. I'm feeling good. My heart rate, her heart rate had gone down to like 100 or so. So then we got back out and got back in line. It was like maybe 4:40-ish, somewhere around in there at this point in time. So we got back out in line. And, you know, we were only there for maybe 5 minutes or so. And she was like, I can't do it. So we went back to my car, got back in, and we basically were like, you know what? I got her, made sure she was drinking some like electrolyte mix to kind of replenish, because the water isn't cutting it at that point when you're in that level of heat. So I was like, nope, you need some electrolytes. I think that's all of those ones. So now those ones are out of this container. So now I've got just those 2 kits, and now I can do them out of this container here. So she basically I got her, got her to hydrate with some electrolytes, to that way we could actually, hydrate or like replenish the electrolytes that she had lost from, that level of heat for so long. And then I was like, we're just going to sit here and, doesn't, and she was like so apologetic the whole time. And I was like, I would so much rather her, sit in the car with her and have her get cooled off, rather than, having her become like a heat casualty out there. Like, because once you have a heat stroke, you're so much more likely to get it again. So it's like, if we can prevent it from, getting into a full-blown heat exhaustion, heat stroke, keep it to, and try to, again, also get her where she's not even at the heat exhaustion, just try to like avoid all of that from happening, then that's going to be much better for her in the long run. So yeah, that was, so we did that, and we ended up, the doors opened at like 5:30, and at that point, it looked like they had opened the doors early, because the line was like really moving, and we were like, okay, hey, the line is moving, it looks like it's down. So a little after 5:30 is when we went and got in line. It went through, and it took us maybe 10 minutes to get through the line and get through security and get inside at that point. And she was definitely doing much better. Like, her heart rate had lowered down to about like 80 or so. And I was like, once you get inside, go find somewhere, because it's an outdoor stadium. I'm like, don't go to your seats yet. Get in there, have a seat on the floor, holding up a piece of wall, and just kind of get some fresh cold water and just, relax and rest at that point. So, and she was doing much better at that point in time, much, much, much better. Like, she was able to actually go out there. Also, there were some clouds kind of blocking the sun, so it was not nearly as atrociously hot, and it had already started to kind of cool off a little bit. So all definitely good things that were working in her favor. But what that meant is, by the time we got through security and got through, like, I was like, at that point, I really had to pee. So, I had to go get in line to pee first. Did that, and then I was going to go get in one of the merch lines. And the merch lines at that point were so long already. Oh my goodness. Super, super long merch lines. And they were, moving super slow, but super long merch lines. It was crazy how long those merch lines were. And when I got out of the bathroom, I looked, and, they had already sold out of, like one of the jerseys was sold out. And I'm like, if one of the jerseys is sold out, and with how long these lines are, by the time I get up there, they're going to be all sold out. And I'm like, I do not want to wait in this long line just to get up there and find out that the one thing that I want is sold out, because I didn't need anything else. I already pre-ordered the rest of my merch, and I already got my little tour stamp. So I literally just wanted the jersey. So at that point, I'm like, it's not worth trying to wait in line. I'm going to another concert in Vegas in May. I can see about trying to snag the jersey in Vegas. So that's going to be the plan of attack for that. I'm going to try to snag it in Vegas, since I was not able to get it at the concert. But anyways, and oh my goodness, the concert was so good. I'm very ambivalent about this. I don't know how I would really truly feel about this like round stage. In theory, it seems good, because then, in the center of the stage, like, would elevate and then spin. So, they could be standing in one place, but over the course of the song, everybody's going to be like, have that good like view of them in theory. And then they had these massive screens. So if you weren't close enough to really see them, you could watch on the screens. But the downside for it is the stuff on the stage that held up these super, super massive screens was in like the diagonals. So people that were seated in the diagonals basically did not get, you had to watch the screen, even if you were like really close. I had decently close. I wasn't on the floor. I was the first row of non-floor tickets. But I would have been much better served having, a much further back seat, because I was at the diagonal, because the stage was in the center. So if this is the football field, the stage was in the center, and then it had like spokes on the four corners. And the members would come out onto these like little spokes and rotate through every couple songs. They'd come onto those. So you got to see them really close. I was like at the corner of I was like literally right here, and this one was like super, super close to those things. But I couldn't see the center of the actual stage because of the supports for those massive screens were on the diagonal. So it basically meant that I had like a really crappy view, essentially, is what it came down to for the majority of it. It was only when people would like kind of come forward, or when the band members would come forward onto those like diagonal little mini stages, that I actually got to, you know, see them. I feel like I could actually see anything. The rest of the time, it was like I had to look at the screen, but I'm like, but the screen is always doing like a close-up of somebody, and sometimes you just want to see all of them and the choreography that they're doing and everything else. So that was kind of annoying. So I'll have to look and see what my seats are for Vegas, and kind of like check that out to make sure that I'm not in, you know, a crazy diagonal spot again for that, because that was the thing that was kind of disappointing, was that stage setup with the diagonals being obstructed views, and nothing being stated that it was going to be an obstructed view when you bought the tickets. So yeah, but otherwise the concert was awesome. The concert, it started a little bit after 8 o'clock, and then it got over at like 10:20ish. So then I like hoofed it to my car, walked as fast as I could back to my car, which really did not take that long to get out of the stadium into my car. What took the longest was getting from, you know, out of the parking lot, because there were so many people, because, you know, it's like 70,000, like, you know, 60 to 70,000 people, like 60, 65, somewhere around in there, 1,000 people at this concert. So it was a lot of people. It was a lot of people. And, you know, they didn't have any, like, crew or any people manning the parking lot to kind of, like, direct traffic and be like, okay, pedestrians pause, let a few cars go. Okay, now cars pause, let the pedestrians go. So it was kind of like a free-for-all. There were only 5 cars ahead of me to get out of the parking lot, but it still ended up taking probably 15, 20 minutes for me to get out of the parking lot, just with, you know, 5 cars ahead of me. I'm not exaggerating that number in any way, shape, or form. But finally got out and onto the road. And of course they have like the road blocked, especially, so, you know, everybody's going. So that took, you know, the road, it was slow moving initially for another like 15 minutes or so before I was able to get past all of the traffic, the concert traffic of everybody departing from all the different parking lots. And at that point, then I was able to, you know, smooth sailing back up. And again, it was like with no traffic that time of night, because, you know, that's by this point it's almost 11. With no traffic at that time of night, being 11 p.m., the rest of the drive went like really, really quick. It was like 3 hours and 15 minutes once I got out of the parking lot for it and kind of got actually on the road. The actual driving was super quick. Got home a little bit before, let's see, that was 11. Yeah, I got home a little bit, right around like 2-ish or so. I did have to stop for gas partway through, because I have a really small gas tank on my car, so I can't like drive there and back on one tank of gas. So I did have to stop and get gas on the way back through, coming back home. But I did that and got home and, you know, went to bed, because at that point it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, which was also why I did not, I took Wednesday off of work, because I knew I was going to get in really late. Because by the time you get in and settled in and all of that, it was probably close to 3 o'clock in the morning. And at that point, you know, my alarm would go off at 5:30 if I was going to work. So that would be a very short but long day at the same, like, if that makes sense. Very short night of sleep, but very long day of, like, on top of, you know, a very long, busy, slammed day. So that was kind of what I did for that Wednesday. I did actually have to go to work Wednesday at lunch, because one of my staff members was getting ready to leave and go to a new command. So we were doing her farewell potluck was actually, her farewell and her farewell potluck and all of that was actually on Wednesday at lunchtime. So I had to be there for that, because, you know, I'm the boss, so I'm like, I can't not be there when my people are leaving. So I was there for that. So I came in, did the potluck, and then I like left and went home, and I like stayed in civilian clothes the whole time. I'm like, I'm not putting on my uniform, because that's just silly to put on my uniform when I'm, you know, technically not at work right now. But yeah, did that, and then, you know, back to work on, let's see, Thursday was, so then I returned to work on Thursday, and morning, saw patients in the morning, and then at lunchtime I had a re-enlistment ceremony for one of my sailors And right before probably about like 10 minutes before the reenlistment, my boss comes downstairs, and my boss is the one that was running the interviews for this position. So he comes down to my office and basically tells me and congratulates me, saying that I got the position that I had interviewed for. So I got it. So, which was super, super exciting. It made like on top of an already good week with the concert and everything else, that made it like an even better week. So I was super excited about that. So yay. And that was basically my Thursday. Friday was spent, I saw some patients outpatient, and then I had to go see a couple inpatients upstairs. And then I had to do a meeting to kind of like start the turnover process for this new position. So I started that. So I attended a meeting with the person that I'm replacing, and then my boss, because he's still my boss. I'm just now like his second in command, basically. So essentially how it tends to work in our hospitals is in like military hospitals is you have your commanding officer, which oversees the hospital. You have the executive officer who, assists the commanding officer. And then you have what we call directors. And each director oversees like a handful of departments. So you've got each director, and then they have their associate directors, like their help with that, and then there's the department heads below the directors. So I've been the department head for physical therapy, so basically for PT, OT, Chiro, physical and occupational therapy, and the chiropractic department. So I've been the department head for there, and that's been what I do, is oversee all of those staff in that department. But the position I was applying for was the associate director of essentially clinical support services. So now I assist my boss, the director, in overseeing physical therapy, pharmacy, radiology, and lab. So those are the 4 departments that, we kind of go over now. So definitely, a step up in responsibility for sure. So we started a little bit of the turnover process on Friday, and we'll be continuing the turnover process this coming week. I have to, I have to completely redo my patient schedule for the month of May, because, now I have a bunch of meetings that I have to go to. So I have to go through my patient schedule. I have to have a bunch of patients rescheduled, a whole 9 yards, for this. So that's kind of what's coming in, what I have to do like this coming week. I'm going to have one of my corpsmen. I have to sit down and figure out what my new schedule is going to be, and then put in the new schedule. And then once the new schedule is input into the system, then kind of go through and have one of my corpsmen go through and start calling and rescheduling all of my patients. And I may have to transition some of my patients, will have to be like transferred over to some of the other staff. And that's mostly because I won't be able to continue seeing those patients because of my schedule. Won't allow me to have that much time with the patients like what I'm doing now. Because right now I'm basically between my department head job and then my other duty that I do, I was seeing 50% patient care. But now the new job alone is a maximum of 50%. So basically it's a 0.5 deduction. So it means that I only see like half-time patient care, but at least through the summer, I'm also dual hatting as the PTOT Chiro department head until we can get somebody in to replace me, which I have 2 new staff members coming later this year. So until then, I'll have to dual hat. And then so that would technically put me at because that's a 0.2, so that would be a 0.7 deduction, and I get a 0.1 deduction for being active duty. So realistically, if we're going off of the books, just between those 2 jobs, I should be 20% of the time in patient care right now. But then I also have an additional duty that I've been doing, which has been another 0.2 deduction. So technically, if we're to go, you're not allowed to have more than 2 deductions, which would be department head and associate director. But so if you only count those 2, it would be like 0.8, because the active duty one is just expected. that we all get just across the board because we are active duty and we have other things that we have to do. But yeah, basically what it comes down to is on paper, I really, until I turn over one of these extra jobs that I'm doing, like my extra job that I've been in charge of like with the training side of everything, until I can turn that over, which should happen over the course of this next month, until I can turn that over, I'm basically shouldn't even be seeing patients with all of like the duties that I have assigned to me, but I have, 50% caseload right now that I need to figure out what to do with all of those patients. And I think a big chunk of them I'm going to have to start giving them to some of my patients I'm going to have to give to some of the other staff members, because I'm like, I can't keep them on my caseload because I've got to, I'm like, I can't see that many patients. So for the first month or so is going to be a little rough because I'm going to have a ton of patients and I'm going to have to, really work it to rework my schedule. But yeah, essentially, bottom line, I got the promotion. That's really what it comes down to. I got a promotion. And I'm super excited. I'm like nervous, but excited at the same time for this new position moving forward. But yeah, so long story short, that's basically been my last week and a half. Super busy, a lot going on, but yeah, it feels good to finally actually be able to go through and do like a WIP and chat. I feel like I spent so much time saying I didn't even do anything. And now, I actually can go through and, say, oh, well, I actually did things this time. So yeah, now it's on to continuing on to bigger and better things, and we will see how it goes. I'm kind of curious to see. I pulled out a landscape to start for my next canvas to do a section on. I have almost finished going through all of these. I think I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is 7 colors left to kit down. And I think the 5 of them, those 5 right there, are going to be ones that I'll have to actually hunt out the extra rest of the drills from in there. So we'll see. But at least I know exactly what the bags look like because I've got them from the kit that I've kit down first. But anyways, that is all I have for you guys for today. Hope you guys enjoyed, hearing me ramble and do this whole kit down of these 2 canvases that I am now getting rid of because I'm like, they're just not bringing me joy. So let's get rid of it. I have not put any drills down on this one, but I did put drills down on the square one that I kitted down first. I do really love the colors of that one, so it was a very tough decision for me to decide to pull it to destash. So that was very challenging. But anyways, that's all for today. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everybody, and enjoy your upcoming week. Bye.